Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. We're here. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And with that being said, here's a quick word from our sponsors.
Organic herbs and botanicals, skincare and edibles, wellness for body and mind. The Brothers Apothecary. Fine teas and remedies. Ronald Records. From indie gems to classic hits, discover the heart of local music. With live shows all the time, up close and personal, and regular releases on their in-house label. Ronald Records. Supporting the community, one track at a time.
All right. Thank you all so much for watching again. Shout out The Brothers Apothecary, Ronald Records, and Portland Water. Thanks for keeping us hydrated. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
How's it going, everybody? It's Sir Nye.
Hello.
How's it going?
Thank you so much for joining us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, who you are, where you're from, what you do, give us that Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
Yeah, I am Sir Nye. I'm a music producer. I am also a recording artist. And yeah, I'm from Portland, Oregon.
Hell yeah.
Northeast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what got you into music initially?
Oh, man, what got me into music initially? I would say elementary school.
Okay, playing that recorder.
I was banging on buckets in an after-school program in elementary school, and that after that, it kind of just escalated from there. But yeah, I've always loved music. My dad is a music producer.
Oh, cool.
He did music also, and then just music's always been, how I've connected with people.
Yeah.
So.
And then what? After elementary school, did you get into it more in school and middle school, or did you move to your own space?
It's kind of funny because I was that kid who was reluctant to do it, to be honest with you, because my parents or my mom, I would say, would just kind of put me in after school programs.
Oh, God.
And it was more so she had time to come get me after work.
I know that one well.
Yeah. And so I was placed in programs, and my mom was like, "Oh, you want to learn the drums? Let's put you in the drums." And I was like, "I don't really want to." And then in middle school was funny because I was put in a concert band, and I wanted to learn how to I should have played the drums in concert band, but I wanted to be different, and I learned how to play the clarinet.
Okay.
But here's the thing, I hated it. It was not fun. But my teacher, he kind of instilled a lot of music can do this, music can be fun if you learn how to do this. And one of the things that we did there was we played music from movies. We played Pirates of the Caribbean. We played Harry Potter music. We played things that connected with us, and that made me more interested. And I've always loved how music complemented other things, and that's really where my love fostered.
Hell yeah, that's rad. What was your favorite one to play?
Oh, in elementary school, oh man, Pirates of the Caribbean. We played the Black Pearl theme over and over again, and it got to a point where I think our teacher put the movie on in the background and took the music and sound off and let us play the score.
Whoa!
And it made me feel like a musician. We could I don't know. I loved every second of that.
That's actually a really cool experience.
That was 7th grade.
Damn.
And
shout out to that teacher. That's a cool way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah! And then I guess when did you move to making more of your own music?
Oh, so that a rough start. But I was in the military for 3 years, and I really didn't have I was by myself at where I was stationed, and my best friend, he put Fruity Loops on my HP laptop computer that my mom and dad got me strictly for Skyping.
Gotcha.
And I ended up just making beats every day on that. And the first couple of beats I made were not very good. And like I just kind of built like using those stock sounds and my own kind of knowledge of music theory and just building from there, you know?
Gotcha. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Are you still on Fruity Loops now?
No, I I actually used that version of Fruity Loops for a very long time. It was a cracked version of FL9.
Allegedly.
Yeah. But I now am on Ableton, and it is the best thing in the world. I love it.
Yo, this show is all the audio is edited on Ableton
Yes,
as well
sir.
for the show. Big fan.
Best.
Big fan.
Yeah.
But before we get into more of what you do in the present day, I do have a couple foundation questions I like to check in with everybody on. And this first one, it's one we ask early, it's one we ask often, and it's definitely a crowd favorite.
Yeah.
What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
See, I revisionist history on this because I thought the first album I ever bought was The Love Below by Outkast, specifically, obviously, the Andre 3000 Love Below thing. My mom was like, nope, that wasn't it.
Okay.
It was actually The College Dropout because my mom gifted me The Love Below, and I got a big allowance on my birthday, and she took me to the record store to go get The College Dropout.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, what? I swear it's been The Love. Like, nope, I got you that. And I was like, all right. And so the whole time I've been telling people that was the first one I bought. She was like, nope, that's not it.
Damn.
I remember.
Well, I mean, either one is a quality option.
Right.
And then what was one of the first live shows you ever went to? That was like specifically one you wanted to go to.
So it was really funny because I was thinking about this, and from what I remember, I can't find any evidence of it, but I think this event called the Boobon, and it had E40,
Okay.
Rihanna, T-Pain, and those were the three main acts.
Whoa.
I remember there, and it was at the Moda Center, and it was me and my cousin and her best friend, and we went at the time, and I remember just kind of tagging along because I heard that she was going to it, and I was like, you know, she was only going there for Rihanna, but I'm like, I want to see T-Pain and E40 and like and all them, so like, I just kind of invited myself.
Okay.
And went, and it was such a fun experience.
Damn, yeah. I bet that. Do you know roughly around the time that was?
God, it had to be middle school, so like 2005.
Okay.
2000.
Okay, so they were early. Yeah. My Ghetto Report Card had just I think just came out. Yeah. Hell yeah, that's rad. And then before we officially get into more of you in the present day, do you have a defining moment where you decided you wanted to take music more seriously?
Yes, I do. I would have been 2000. It was 2014, and then I had so I had gotten out of the Army in 2013, and my friends Bryce, Anton, and the Renaissance Coalition, they had been making music, and they were killing it. They had been doing shows and whatnot, and I remember I had shown some beats to them, and they were like, you could really do this if you really wanted to. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. Like I'm still such a timid person, but I was like, let me put things out, and let me organize a beat tape and put it out, and people liked it. And so I was like, you know what? Yeah, I can make a name for myself doing this.
Oh yeah, that's rad. That's rad. I dig that.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead then. Let's get on into you in the here and now. We are going to knock a super easy one out of the way. How'd you pick the name?
Oh, so it is. I make this more convoluted than it has to be.
That's okay.
My name, Nainoa, my actual name is Hawaiian, and it means the namesake. It actually has tons of meanings. It means greatness. It also means the protector of children. It also means the protector of the generation and the namesake. And so I cut my name in half and added the sir part, and sir nai meaning surname.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be a play on that.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people.
Hey, I mean, it's definitely got some depth to it. And I'm sure as time progresses, I'm sure you can integrate that concept into some music you're putting out already. So. Hell yeah.
And so it just basically means me making a name for myself.
Damn, that's rad. I love when people put that layer of thought into, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with any name that you choose if you go with it. But I like when people actually like take the time to like put some layers into it. So I dig that. Thank you for sharing.
Also, Sir and I know of both 6 letters.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well thought out.
Yeah.
Now let's go ahead and talk about your writing process a little bit. And we're going to break it up into chunks, but we're going to start right at the beginning.
Yeah.
So when you get inspired, you're ready to make music. What are some of the things you do to get a track started?
Well, it's funny because I only recently started writing to music. I would say like maybe 2019-ish. But I obviously start with the beat because that's where, you know, my foundation is as a music producer. And I'll usually like start with something melodic, and then I'll try to channel the words of depending on what I'm thinking about or where I want the song to go. But yeah, I always try to find kind of a mood that I'm in, and then I'll kind of like let the music play for, you know, an absurd amount of time, and then I know that's how the lyrics come to me.
I gotcha. Hell yeah. And then do you perform your music? Are you getting out there and doing that?
Yeah, I've done tons of beat sets now. I haven't sung any of my own. Well, actually, that's a lie. I've performed with this band that I used to be a part of called Stress. And it was me, Harvey Bird, Matt Randall, and Bass Zeus.
Oh, hell yeah. Shout out to Matt Randall. Been on the show before.
Matt Randall's so great. He was actually the person who like pushed me to actually start recording my own vocals.
Yeah,
he actually gifted me. Oh, I'm so sorry, Matt. I can't find this mic anymore, but any of the songs that I've recorded was on a mic he gave me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so I started like singing and rapping a little bit. And for me, I've always like not really liked the sound of my own voice. So like I always try to like disassociate a little bit.
Oh, I gotcha.
You know, whenever I'm doing it, but it's become so fun, you know.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it now.
You know, I have done hundreds of these episodes at this point. By the time this comes out, we'll be pretty much at 600. And in the beginning, that was just the thing that really set me apart. I was just like, I got to keep putting these out, but I just don't love listening to me. It's a hard thing to like get comfortable with until like, and it wasn't until like probably the 300s where I was just like, all right, I think I got this. Like it's no longer like, me again. I like stopped using the headphones, which I think really helped me a lot. And like, it definitely takes some time. But I mean, as far as putting stuff out goes, we're not too dissimilar. I went and checked out your music on Bandcamp, and you have just an unfathomable amount of music. It goes all the way back to 2014. Like that might be the most music I've seen anybody put out since like Machado Majigo. Shout out Machado. Like that, it is just a ton, and it's not just singles. You got EPs, you got some albums. And I'm gonna be honest, I couldn't even begin to attempt to listen to all of it.
It's a lot.
There was just not enough time in any one day. But I did try to jump around. I checked out what's now. I checked out the earliest stuff. I went through a bunch of things in the middle. And one thing I think is really cool is that the progress is real. Like you go to the earliest stuff, you go to the now, it's very apparent. And anywhere in the middle, the benchmarks along the way, like how you got, because you have a sound now. You definitely have a style, and you can see how it grew from your starting point. So it's not like you were like over here and then one day you're doing like EDM and then the next day you're doing like hard rock. Like you've always been progressing. But I think it's really cool how there are things along the way. Like if somebody was just checking you out, like the Hermit Crab series is a really good way to kind of learn like where you've been, where you've gone. The Pastime album, the deluxe edition, that is a really good one. Like if I had to like recommend one body of work for you to people, that for sure. I think that's a good example. And I even saw you have a track with past guest Bon Wavy.
Oh yeah,
Wavy. And that one that was very much a Bon Wavy track.
Yeah,
like y'all nailed it for sure.
Thank you so much. He brings out the best in me.
He tends to do that with a lot of people that he works with. There's really something about that.
It's funny because you were talking about like my body of work. I like to challenge myself. And like anytime like I have like heard something, I like not necessarily want to emulate it or imitate it. I want to be able to create it in my own way. So like for instance, I really liked the 80s sound. Like I love synthesizers. I love alternative music. I love hip hop. And the thing is, like I kind of describe myself as just a music fan first. And so like anything I'll hear, like, man, this is interesting. Let me challenge myself to go make this. And one of the things Bon Wavy often does is like, hey, can you make something like this? Can you make something like that? And like, you know, like that's the fun in it for me. Like I love trying to figure out how to create something like this in my own way.
Yeah, hell yeah. I dig that. Since you're a fan of the sounds, have you heard of an artist named Kavinsky by chance?
Kavinsky. It sounds familiar.
Definitely check him out if you haven't. I think you'll dig it.
I got you.
But getting back into it, I just talked about your music for a little bit, but I am curious to know, out of all of the music you have available, I won't even try to narrow it down to one. What are just some of like your favorite tracks?
Okay, so I'm gonna go off of the Hermit Crab series, mainly because that's a series that I feel like I really grew the most, and I feel like people can go back and look at those volumes and see my growth kind of exponentially. And I would say like, because that's where I have the most fun. Music, I feel like, brings the best out of me, and it's, oh man, I would say probably Hang Loose. Okay. Or any of my like kind of dancier dance hall tracks. And because like I've played those at like events or just me DJing, and people love those. People like, I've loved seeing people dance to your music is like one of the most fulfilling things. Yeah. And I also like, I don't know if people have noticed this, but like each volume is bigger than the last one. So yeah, I think people will enjoy that series.
Oh man, how big is Volume 4 going to be now? Whoa.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna do Volume 4. We might do Volume 4.
Just a trilogy maybe. I dig that.
Yeah,
I dig that. You could do a full length album later called "Coming Out of Your Shell." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, there might be a layer to that.
So in the layers, there's layers in that because. The reason why I call it Hermit Crab is for like a bunch of reasons. So like music is very spiritual to me. And like at that same time I was kind of discovering like horoscope stuff, like celestial signs and whatnot, and I learned like I was a Cancer, and I'm very reclusive, but I don't want to be. Yeah. I'm very
extroverted introvert.
Yes. And I just kind of realized I was watching a not National Geographic, but I think it might have been like one of the Animal Planet specials. And I was like watching these things about hermit crabs. And they're very social creatures. Like in my mind, I always thought they were like they find a shell, they remove themselves from their grouping, and that's how they are. Nope, they go and exchange shells with other people. The thing is, they have to get out of their comfort zones to grow. Have to get out of their shells to grow, and I kind of applied that to myself.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I dig that. I dig that. That's a cool insight. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious to know though, tell us a little bit about new music you're working on. What do you got cooking right now? Because it's been a little bit since you put out anything, like at least on Bandcamp.
Yeah. So I've taken a little bit of a step back to focus on my health and whatnot, but currently I've been really loving rock and like just kind of exploring like alternative music. I've really grown to love some like shoegaze, and like just kind of grunge stuff. And also with like, I'm not like a rapper. Like I've rapped before, but like I love singing. I'm not a singer. I'm more of a vocalist at my heart. But like I've loved like how songs are written and how they express themselves, and I've just loved the melodies and the chords and that. So I think a lot of my future stuff will obviously still have hip hop elements and whatnot, but it'll probably sound a little bit more alternative.
Oh, okay. Hell yeah.
I'm not gonna say what it's gonna be called.
No, totally.
Because I've been working on it, and it's been. I usually get so excited once I've made something new that I want to release it immediately. But I've been culminating it in like just. Grouping all these songs together.
Okay, so it's going to be a body of work when it comes out. Oh, yeah. Well, we'll definitely have to have you back to talk about that when it comes out.
Yeah.
Now I want to take a moment. I want to zoom out. I want to kind of look at music as a whole.
Yeah.
And either you can answer this as like new music if you listen to like new stuff regularly that comes out, or at the very least just stuff that's new to you, stuff that you found recently, regardless of when it came out. But what are some of the things about music you're finding right now that you enjoy and you're finding inspiration in?
This is actually really funny because I've thought about this a lot. I like the connectivity. I like how like I'm looking at like social media and whatnot, and I like that like I've seen artists kind of connect through like social media, TikTok and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really interesting seeing communities kind of grow off of that.
Yeah.
And that has been so cool to like see someone kind of promote their growth in that way and develop, and just how quickly and how much music's been accessible.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. We're just seeing new musicians kind of pop up all the time now. And that's so like, I know a lot of people like get like a little intimidated when it comes like, oh, they're just making, you know, whatever. But I feel like that's how art moves forward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know, that's an interesting take. And I want to dig into that because I've never really thought of it in that direction. But as you were saying that, it did make me realize something. Yeah. I don't know the name of the artist. I'm so sorry to whatever your name is. But you know the guy that does the Dirtman song? The Keep a Bit of Dirt Under the Pillow for the Dirt
Yes.
Man.
Yes. I love that song, actually.
So I remember, first of all, I was just scrolling through the internet one day and I saw it the day it came out. Like, I was just like, oh, this is catchy. I'll need to find this out later. And then it blew up. I was like, wait, who is? And then I realized it was just that. Like, that was the whole, there wasn't really anywhere to get it. And then as time progressed, he like started putting them out. He started doing more things. And then he started playing live with them. Yeah. And I was like, interesting. Like, I want to know what that's like. Because, like, he has it was like him and like a dude on keys, I think. He may have a drummer, but I think I just saw him and like a dude on keys just playing for a room of people and just jamming. I was like, oh, it's such an interesting experience to see it happen backwards. Yeah. Usually it's like they take something, they make it, trim it to a format. Right. Now it's happening where it's like, hey, this is where you're discovering it, and then it becomes real, and then they go with it. Yeah. And that's an interesting take on it. So I'm curious to see how that progression occurs in the future. Oh yeah. All right. Now, before we move into the next portion, this next question is probably the densest question in the interview. Yeah. But we've talked about, your experience with music, the actions, the reactions. But when it's just you and music, one-on-one, what does music give back to you?
Oh, man. So music to me, it is a spiritual thing. It's almost like my religion. I call it that sometimes. Music has given me so much. I like to say that there's Nainoa and then there's Sernai. Obviously, we're the same person. But music has made, man, it's such a good question. Music has given me confidence. It's given me community. It's given me life lessons. Like, I've turned to music when I was younger to like understand certain aspects of life even. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever gone through a breakup and had a song that they have like ready to listen to when like they're going through something. Yeah. And like music's been there for me and like has just, given me so much. Like it's just such a big part of my life. And like, I can't see myself without music. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, I trust me, I 100% feel you on that one. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Now let's go ahead and we're going to move on to some hypothetical questions. And for these, sky's the limits. The questions are all made up, so the answers are allowed to be as well. But this first one's pretty straightforward. Right. If you could work with any one person, the only requirement is they have to be alive. Who would you want to work with and how would you want to work with them?
Oh, man. Only one, right?
Yeah. And it's not to say if you pick one person, all the other people are off the table, but like, who is one person that stands out?
So I think this has got to be a little bit of recency bias, but Andre 3000 comes to mind, mainly because I actually ran into him and froze because he was staying at this place that I was at, and he just happened to be in the lobby. Yeah. And I couldn't believe it because my friend was like, hey, over there, it's Andre 3000. And I just froze. I was like, but like, I have a picture of him at my house. You know what I mean? I have I thought that like the first album I ever bought was The Love Below. Yep. So like, it would just mean so much to work with him. And I would love to like, because he's obviously like, he's transversed like hip hop. He's obviously still doing music, but he's, playing the flute now. And I feel like if I worked with him, I could just learn so much. And I would love to make him rap again. Yeah. Yeah.
I actually, I appreciated his take when he talked about like why he moved over to flute, because I think that there's an honesty in it that like wasn't really presentable for a little bit. And like, since he's like, even T.I. is like, I just don't want to perform anymore.
Oh yeah.
Like, flat out. Like, he's just like, done. Like, and I think that those kinds of honesties in music are really going to allow for like a new generation of people to be like, oh, you're allowed to be at any place with your music. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love to have Andre back spitting bars. That would be awesome.
It's funny that you say that because like all of my favorite artists, at least in my mind, have transitioned. Not that they left hip hop, but like they've transitioned outside of it and they've done things like hip hop or like music adjacent. Like they've went to other genres and explored themselves that way.
Oh yes, Lil Wayne's Rock album.
Yeah, right. No, but it's one of my favorite artists too. And like it seems like when they do that, there's a little bit of a pushback. It's a little bit of a risk, but it always. It serves them. You know what I mean? And that's the beautiful thing in it.
Music, I think, really comes full circle in that way. I think that it's one of those things where it's like in the beginning, you have to do it. You have to do it for you. You have to do your sound. You have to be trying new things, finding stuff that works. When you reach a certain level, you have to be put. I mean, back in the day, it was because you were stuck on a label and you had to be putting stuff out anyway. But like you kind of had to do it for the people to like get them to grow with the sound that you like were known for and like find more people. And then at a certain point, you have to do new stuff again because you find this place where you get to be the creative once more. And you've gotten such a large following that like some people are just going to like ride or die till the end. And even if you lose some people, you're going to bring in new people that are going to find both of them and get to make a new decision. Yeah. Hell yeah. All right. And then subsequently, who's a local artist that you're aware of that you haven't gotten to connect with yet, but you would like to?
Oh, man. Wow. Yes, I have quite a bit because I feel like there are people I've told like, we're going to get together. We're going to work. But one artist that comes to mind is Old Grape God, Tron.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. I respect him so much and he's an artist like to his core. You know what I mean? And I've just valued his music so much. Like everything he does is artistic. You know what I mean? Like
I'm a fan.
And like he's across so many mediums. Tron, if you're seeing this, like we'll get one in. We will.
Everybody at him in the comments if you want to be on the show.
Yeah. But he's a phenomenal artist and like he's inspiring. He's inspired me. You know, just from like cover art stuff to like it's like the amount of intention he puts into stuff is really inspiring. So.
Hell yeah. Well, like I said, everybody, if you didn't add him already, add him in the comments. Let's make that happen. And then for this next one, like I said before, sky's the limits, and it's pretty literal in this sense. But if you could perform anywhere in the world, you wouldn't have to worry about crowd access or building stability or power. It's guaranteed the best lineup, guaranteed the best show. It doesn't have to be a venue. It could be anywhere. Where would you want to perform?
Oh, geez. This is a good question. Okay. Yeah. I would love to perform. Man. I would love to perform again, maybe recency bias. God, I would love to perform in Hawaii. I was just there with my mom and my younger brother. But I would love to perform. I know what I would even perform. I would love to do like a whole hermit crab set on Oahu. Because like the countryside and all that, like it was just really nice over there. But I would love to be in Hilo performing hermit crab stuff.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be really, really cool. Maybe even with like a live band and everything, composing like the music for that and whatnot. That would be, I feel like it would be a whole like soothing and like fun experience overall.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to get out there next year, so I'll let you know when I'm going. Maybe we'll get a set going out there.
Yeah, if you go, listen to Hermit Crab at the beach. If you go, because like that was another thing about it too. Is like my music was it's supposed to be like at least in a visual nature too, because like I added like ocean sounds in there. So like if you're at the beach and at the sand, I feel like you'll enjoy it.
Hell yeah, I dig that. I definitely will. All right, and then to wrap up the hypothetical questions, if you could get one more album from anybody, they could be live, they could be dead, they could not put out an album in 100 years, they could have put out an album yesterday. Who would you want an album from?
Okay. I know I said Andre 3000, but I'm not gonna say him again.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Childish Gambino.
Hell yeah.
Only because he said he's done and I don't want him to be done. And
I'm in the same boat also. Yeah. So I had tickets to his show.
His tour?
Yeah. So sad about that. I'm so sad. Now I'm on the wait list for Tyler, but like, I have been counting the minutes till that show.
Yeah.
And I don't want him to be done with music either. I think he's really, especially after the most recent album.
Yeah, man.
There's so much. Yeah. There's so much that he has to like give to it. But I get it. I get it. But yes, I hope he does have one more. And he's just like, after he's officially done, he's like, all right, this is for you guys to remember.
The thing is, like, I don't feel like anyone ever really retires from music.
Yeah.
Like I said, like they either transition to something else entirely. But like, I watched some of the interviews he had in talking about Bando Stone in the New World and how he's grown as an artist and what he decides to talk about now, as opposed to then with like Because the Internet and Camp and previous mixtapes. And it's just really, it's almost endearing to see like him talk about like how he's changed and how like other artists can also make that change to like talking about positive things like love and family and all that stuff, and it not feel forced.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like the fact that he's pushing that and like making, because I felt like the concept of that album was like getting people to care again. You know what I mean? And like that's such a positive message. And like I feel like even though he says like this is my last album ever as this, we'll probably get another one.
Maybe he's going to do a new name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like maybe he's going to become Bando. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like, and it's interesting because his music has always felt like the least forced music. Yeah. You know what I mean? But also, you look at all of his crafts, like all of the, he's done stand-up comedy, he's done acting, he's probably done directing at this point, although I can't credit what he's done or hasn't done. But like, there's always just been a realness in what he does. And even like when you hear him talk about things, it's interesting how he seems so present and detached at the same time. Yeah. Like he is very aware of what he's saying and he's very aware of when he's saying it. But it's almost like he is saying it to let it go so that he can be forever moving. Yeah. And that's just such an interesting element to be as a human, to be so present in so many medias.
Yeah. I've always thought it was interesting because he's always alluded to that, like, there will be an end to this. You know what I mean? And like, I think thematically, even throughout his music, like endings have been something like existential that he talks about, like whether it be like just kind of like your ideas on something and change. And that's always something I've always admired. And like, again, that's something music's giving me, you know what I mean? Just that life lesson of hearing him talk about that. And then, maybe seeing other people inspired by that. Like that's the beauty of music, and that's the culture and the cultural thing that I think it applies to that, or his contribution to it.
Yeah, very much so. That and his take on always chasing the fun. Yeah. That's something that really sat with me because it's like he's so good at the things he does to be able to just pick up and go, all right, now I'm doing this other thing because it looks fun. Yeah. Give it 100%. I really appreciate that. Yeah. But that's enough about him. We're going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. What can we look forward to between, let's say, now and May?
Ooh. So I'm definitely going to be putting out music by then.
Hell yeah.
You're going to it'll be music with my voice on it. It won't be a beat tape. So, I've been working on, like I said, like my analyzation of rock and whatnot. So you'll hear me playing the guitar. You'll hear more alternative sounds, and you'll hear... Yeah, you'll hear a lot, and I hope, like, even though I'm me telling you this, like, you won't know what to expect.
Yeah, oh yeah, well, definitely looking forward to that. For this next one, go and look straight at your camera. Tell everybody how they can find you.
You can find me on everything. You can find me on IG, Twitter, all the social sites as Sirnai, SIRNAI_, and I'm on all the streaming platforms, Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify, all that. Yep, Sirnai.
Hell yeah. And then any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else you want to put on while you're on here?
Oh, yeah. Man. Shout out Matt Randall. Shout out Blang Blang Lang. Shout out Blake Elliott. Shout out Keese. Shout out Bon Wavy. Yeah. Shout out those dudes.
Hell yeah. All right. Now, with that being said, I've got one last question to go. But before we do, I'm going to steal the camera for just a second. As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And one more shout out to the Brothers Apothecary, Raw Records, and Portland Water. Thanks for keeping us hydrated. And with that being said, the final question. And this is entirely up to your interpretation. But in all of music, what is an album you feel is more on the obscure side? It's a bit of a deep cut. It's one not a lot of people would know. It's one you think everybody should know.
Wow. See, I actually have like plenty of talks with like the younger generation, and like it's so funny because they treat us like we're so old and we're so fossilized, and we talk about like Odd Future often, but one of the guys in there that I've always been a fan of is Matt Martians. I want y'all to go check out Jet Age of Tomorrow, Journey to the Fifth Echelon.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I would love that one. It's 2011, different time.
Yep. That's a super solid rack.
Yeah, y'all would love that.
Hell yeah. All right. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course, I loved it.
Yeah.
This is so fun.
Yeah. And this has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. I'm Jimmy.
I'm Sir Nye.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all. That's a wrap.
This is not a podcast. This is a show.
Keep jamming.